Remember, my excellent drivers, you are responsible for the safe use of your vehicle and abiding by the state or territory rules that you are driving in, and that, of course, includes mobile phone usage.
Welcome to the Learn to Drive podcast. I'm your host, Liz Lafferty, and I'm here to guide you through the twists and turns of learning to drive with a few laughs along the way. So whether you're a newbie trying to figure out why the car keeps beeping at you, or a seasoned road warrior who still can't parallel park without causing a minor traffic jam, I've got you covered. So buckle up, check those mirrors, and let's hit the road to becoming a more confident and happier driver. Hello and welcome to the Art of Confident Driving. I hope you're all doing well. So this episode I would love to talk to you guys about one of our basic road rules here in Australia, and of course any other country where we have to drive on the left-hand side, and that would be keep left. Now I'm sure a lot of you think you understand that road rule reasonably well, and there'd be a lot of you out there who are overseas license holders coming to Australia. Welcome. I really think you guys are going to get a lot out of this one, but especially our regular Australian drivers, I think we need a bit of a brush up on this one, so let's give it a go. Alright folks, so it's hard to believe it's almost the end of January and the kids are going back to school. Please obey the 40-kilometre zone school zones, please. These little people are very excited. They're going to do some silly things, so please be very, very careful out there when you're near a school zone and do obey the road rules. So let's get into the episode. Alright, so keep left. Now, as I always do with my students, I'm going to bring it straight back to basics. I'm not going to go for the complex stuff yet. We will get there in a moment. So when it comes to keeping left, this is a basic road rule in Australia. So I know a lot of you are about to say to me, but hang on, it doesn't apply until a certain speed. Okay, they're on multi-lane roads. I'm just simply talking about single-lane roads, where a lot of drivers, for some reason, seem to sit very close to the centre of the road. So that is really asking for trouble if you're sitting right next to the centre of the road rather than the centre of your lane. Just think about it this way. If you're close to the centre of the road and the oncoming car is close to the centre of the road, well, wow, you're going to scare yourselves. But B, what if somebody starts to have a medical episode, or, I know that's big and deep and dark, or something as simple as they're getting distracted by something. I'm hoping not a mobile phone. So yeah, this is the point I make. Why ask for trouble? So I really want everybody to get out of the habit of sitting right close to the centre of the middle of the road, and please be more to the centre of your lane or even a little bit to the left of your lane. So why else should I keep left? Even if you are doing that speed limit, there is always going to be somebody who wants to speed. Now, to try and police them yourself by being in that lane and making them do the speed limit, guys, I've seen it so many times. It doesn't work. You're not the police. All you are doing is literally asking for them to road rage you. And that's not something anybody wants, right? Why get the blood pressure up just because the guy behind is running late? So if you're left, he can just go flying past. Everybody's happy, although the police and me, I'm certainly not thrilled he's speeding. But at least then he won't be road raging you, okay? So again, if you were in the left lane, we're not going to get road raged as much. I can't guarantee you won't, but it is much less likely that you're going to get road raged because, of course, the right lane is the fast lane. The left lane is the slower lane. Now, you don't have to go slow in the left lane. In fact, of course, I would always prefer you guys to be somewhere close to the speed limit, unless you've got a good reason. So if there are hazards or threats or dangers, of course you can slow down. But if there are none of those things around and there's no dramas, you should be going somewhere close to the speed limit. And if any learners are out there and you're finding you're not doing that, you might want a bit more training in the back roads to build up the confidence. Okay, because going fast and straight, truthfully, guys, is not that great of a skill. Okay, knowing what the traffic's doing around you, that is a big skill. So again, I do talk about that on my driving lesson episodes. Keeping left. Why else should I keep left? Guys, the emergency vehicles. Where should they always be going? Around you on the right, so that they can get a better and clearer view of the traffic coming at them from all angles. Okay? If they have to go around you on the left, it's going to be harder for them to see, especially with the very big high vehicles that are out and about these days. They would find it very difficult to see past those big vehicles on their right. So again, keep left. The other thing is, the closer you are to the centre of the road, the more chance of a head-on collision. Now, I know I've gone dark real quick on that one, but please, let's be logical. The closer you are to that centre lane line, to the oncoming traffic, yeah, it is logical that it will say to me, if somebody has a medical episode or suddenly loses control, they could head towards me, and that will result, of course, in a horrible head-on collision. So again, it's a level of safety to keep left, okay? Now, of course, that will depend on if you've got parked cars nearby. Of course, you've got to have a good distance between yourself and the parked car. And yes, I do talk about that an awful lot on our Safety Bubble lesson episode. And that's, of course, in the subscriber area. So look, anything you're not certain of about laned roads, about Safety Bubble, anything like that, I've covered it all in all of my 50 lessons, which you are, of course, most welcome to go subscribe to. It's not a big fee, guys, and you get access to all of the lessons. And if you're going with it via my website, you'll also get instructional videos. If you're on Apple, hey Apple, you just get the audio, of course, but hey, it's crystal clear, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. But yeah, it's, as I say to my students, if we've got no parked cars on our left and we've got oncoming cars on our right, I say to my students, what would you rather be closer to, the nothing or the oncoming car? And it seems really logical and easy and obvious once I put it that way, and then they're drifting more to the centre or even to the left of their lane. But the other point I would make is there are so many people out there who, when they come to a strange situation, they don't know what to do and they don't fall back on the basics of keep left. So I've got an example which I'm hoping you guys can spot on the photograph for this episode, but if not, that's okay, I'll describe it. So what it is, it's a simple 2-lane road, right? So opposite directions. In the middle of those 2 lanes, though, is a very wide green verge, so a big lump of concrete with grass in the middle, and it's about 20 metres, so it's a pretty wide one. Now, if I ask a student to come down and do a U-turn for me, so in other words, just to go back up the same road that we just came from, but obviously not the same lane, you have no idea how many of these students hug the right curb. And if you look at the photo, you can see, well, hang on a second, that's not your lane. And that's because they're thinking I need to do a U-turn, but they're not also applying the road rule of keep left. So they get a real big shock when I have to grab the wheel and say, let's stay on our side of the road, guys. We're not in America, we're in Australia. We need to stay on the left. So that's why it's such a basic road rule to keep left. Now, even if there wasn't that solid line in the centre of that turning bay, or actually that area where you can sit and wait to give way, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you can hug that concrete. Now, my question would be, if that line wasn't there and you're doing a U-turn and you're close to the curb on your right and another car comes up and is now forced to be at the curb on their right, which is your left, you can't see through that car to give way, can you? So again, it defeats the purpose of being a safe driver, is to cut corners and therefore not be in the correct lane. So please keep left on single lane roads, and it will make you a much safer driver. All right, let's talk multi-lane. Yes, I know this is the biggest bugbear around at the moment, especially for us for here on the Gold Coast, where we've got the M1, which is a 4-lane road, at least a lot of the time. It does go down to 3, but we're lucky at the moment where I live. It's a big 4-lane. Unfortunately, most people do not obey that road rule of keeping left. Now, I do admire New South Wales, where they've got lovely big signs saying keep left unless overtaking quite often on their motorways and freeways. For some reason, we don't have it here in Queensland, which really I'm not understanding. I think always communication between the Transport Department and road users is the smartest thing to do. Don't leave people guessing. Don't leave people wondering. Don't leave them confused. So Here on the Gold Coast, we're a tourist town. We get a lot of tourists. We get a lot of overseas license holders. We get a lot of interstate visitors. You're all welcome. We love you here. We have beautiful beaches. We have amazing hinterland and, of course, some of the best food around. But we don't have the best drivers. And that's because we've got so many cars on the road and so many people who are not just simply going with the basic road rules. And they're not obeying them either. So if we're on a multi-lane road, we should be in the left 2 lanes, right? That should be our safe space, not the right 2 and certainly not the far right lane. The far right lane should be used only for overtaking. Now, of course, if you're stuck in traffic, everybody's in every lane and that's all good. But if we do have a nice movement of traffic, which I had this morning, it was a M1 miracle. I didn't have to touch the brakes between Helensvale and Burleigh. It was amazing. And very unusual at 8:15 this morning. It was wonderful, but the thing was there were a lot more cars in the left 2 lanes than normal. So normally they'd be spread out across. Well, actually, I hate to say it, there'd be even more in the right 3 lanes and the left lane would be almost empty. But today there was a lot more cars in the left lanes and that made for a smoother flow of traffic. Less lane changing because, of course, you don't need to go across 4 lanes to get to your exit. And it made for a really pleasant drive. So yes, I know there are some states where it will only kick in with the keep left unless overtaking rule at 80 kilometres an hour or 90. But look, I want everybody to just stick with that rule across the board. So unless you're actively overtaking, please don't be in the right 2 lanes, be in the left 2 lanes. Now, if you're not thrilled with the far left lane because of the people merging, okay, fair enough. But really, there's no reason for a driver travelling certainly anywhere under the speed limit in the right 2 lanes. Okay, and I've seen it a lot. I really do see it a lot, and I see it with learner drivers. I see it with P-platers, although they're normally faster. But the good P-platers, but even those guys, if you're not confident, why are you in the right 2 lanes? They're the fast lanes, guys. And that's the next point I'll bring to you is back in 97 when I first started teaching people how to drive, I'd ask a student, what lane should we be in if we're on a multi-lane road? And they'd say, oh, left lane, Liz. And about 70% of my students would answer me left lane. 30% weren't really certain, but 70% were, and they were very certain. And they'd say, yes, absolutely, left lane, always, unless we're overtaking or turning right. These days, certainly in the last year or 2, when I've asked a student which lane should we be in, guys, I hate to say this, but only about 40% of them would say left lane. So that means a good 60% don't understand this absolutely intrinsic, basic rule in Australia of keep left. So it used to be taught from parents to kids, grandparents down to grandkids. For some reason, it's not happening at the moment. So I'd really like any of you out there who are experienced drivers and who do have younger drivers that you're caring for, can you please remind them that that really is the basic road rule in Australia is keep left. Any overseas license holders, whether you're moving here or whether you're just visiting here and you're driving, you'll find that a lot of the rental cars now have signs saying keep left inside the windscreen to remind you guys, but that is the basic road rule. So truly, you're much less likely to get into mischief if you're in the left lane, okay? So let's everybody stay calm, obey the road rules, keep left, and let's try and have a really pleasant drive. All right, my friends, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time. And my full driving lessons are available on Apple Podcasts and the artofconfidentdriving.com website, where you will get access to instructional videos. Remember to relax and enjoy the drive. See you next time.